All right, how you doing? My name is Robert Gonzalez. I'm with the "Wanna Hate the Heat" podcast.
I'm Arturo Sanchez.
All right, how you doing? My name is Robert. I just wanted to bring on my buddy Art, my brother. I wanted to talk with him about, just our life here growing up when I was young. I met him when I was 20, and I'm going to be 45 today. So he's been through a lot with me, and I just wanted to, talk about the stuff that we've been through and stuff when we were younger, and get to hear some of his stories that he has to say and stuff like that. So, hope some of you guys are really interested in this. Check us out on Instagram and on the YouTube. It's the Hate the Heat podcast, and thank you guys. I wanted to bring you on, man, and just talk with you about our life and how we met and the stuff that we've been through. A lot of people really don't know me from like the beginning days. You were with me from a lot of my beginning days, and had a lot of fun here. But when I first met you, how's the first way we met? How did I meet you?
I was 16 years old, bro. 16 years old, and you splattered me on the concrete. Oh, they're playing basketball. Old Town basketball course.
Old Town. Yeah.
Old Town basketball course. No, we were out having fun, man.
I was 20.
I was just trying to make the basketball team. I was a wrestler.
Yeah.
But I was just trying to make the basketball team. You know what I mean? Wanted to play basketball and wrestle.
Yeah.
Wanted to do both, and you were always out there, hustling, playing ball with us. And that was what we played every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
It was a lot.
We were there every day, just grinding, bro.
I used to go out to work all the time.
Yep.
Take my family out there.
Yeah, yep. It started there, and then we went on to softball, bro.
Yeah, the softball. How many years you softball?
13 years. 13 years with HDH.
Yeah.
All the way from the beginning, bro.
Yeah.
All the way from the beginning.
Yeah. We started that, and we had a lot of fun in that. I don't really talk about my softball much. A lot of people don't really know me from my softball, because at that time, a lot of people didn't understand me and had a lot of people that didn't really like me and like what I stood for. You know what I mean? So
there was definitely a lot of anguish there, man. You know what I mean? There was a lot of sweet and sour. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? There was a lot for the whole thing.
Yeah.
But as much as there was sour, there was sweet. People love to focus on the negative and say, oh, Robert was this, or your guys' team was this. We were always the bad guy. They love to portray us as the bad guy.
Right.
We were the bad guys. You know what I mean? But we weren't. We were just there playing ball like everybody else.
Yeah.
They didn't like it because we played like dogs. And we played hard.
And, they don't understand, too, in those days when I was young, we also practiced 5 days a week.
Yeah. We lived that life.
Right.
We lived the whole life.
Right.
And people don't understand that when you sink your heart into something, you're not going to just go down lightly. It's not going to be easy, and people always took us as a bad guy, But one thing that I knew from the day that I met you was that you had a big heart. Because as much as you would splat me down onto the ground in Old Town when I'm 16 and weigh 100 pounds, you'd also pick me back up and be like, come on, young man, plays on the other end of the court. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it was stuff like that always stuck with me, dude, that I remember the most, being like, oh, here's a guy who's willing to knock you on your ass, but he's trying to build you up to something else.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't think there was a single person that ever made it into HGH that ever didn't grow from that situation or have some type of better life or opportunity. Whether they misused it or used it was on them, but had the opportunity to do something better because you cared about people like that.
I just wanted you guys to have better than what I went through, what I've done. A lot of you guys were all me at different stages of my life. And especially you, like when I met you, I was really young and you were young, but like I really got close with you and got to work with you a lot, where you allowed me to really step into being like a mentorship to you. And you would allow me, because I used to get into it with you, bro, and yell at you and stuff. And and I used to try to get you calm down, and you know what I mean. But it was really cool because I was so young at that time with you, and I've helped a lot of people, now, but then you were like one of the first. And so it's cool because you've also got to see what the gym and what my teachings have done from not just a softball field point of view, but you also stepped into the gym. And you helped me out with a lot with the gym when my son was young,
From the beginning of him.
Right.
From when we were kickboxing at Parks, with people that we don't even talk to no more.
Dead Horse.
Well, it don't even matter. Yeah, it don't even matter. They were there. You know what I mean? Everybody was there. We were all there. We were at Dead Horse.
I look at that picture. I look at that picture, bro, and
I see it all the time.
I love everybody, and it's sad where it's all got to. Yeah. But that's a really cool picture that shows where we started at. A lot of people don't understand. I carry that blue mat in my gyms, and I keep that blue mat with me everywhere I go. It's always in the gym, and people always ask, "What's that blue mat? Why is your whole gym red and black?" And then that's but you have a blue mat, and I'm like,
that's what we have.
That blue mat is HDH gym. That blue mat is our gym at the park. When I was teaching kids, that's all we had.
Yeah.
And from that mat, we've gotten here, but it's really cool. But really, to be honest with you, I miss those old school just mat teachings. And
no, they were raw.
Yeah.
They were real, because everything about that was, if we don't do this, where are you going to be if you don't?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Everything about that was we got to get these kids to the next level.
Right.
We got to show, because that was our next generation. You know, you're looking at it like we had Isaiah and there, Mario's kids. You know what I'm saying? We had Stephen Bankston's kids. You know, all these guys out here that we had their kids in the gym.
Right.
You know what I mean? And how many kids did you have in the gym? Over the course of everything that we've done, you've had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of kids. You know, come in and out, in and out, in and out. And, you know, it done good for all of them. But that was where we started. That was, those were the kids that, and it wasn't like they were any more special than any of the other kids that we had. It was just a special moment.
Yeah,
it was a special moment for you.
Look at them today. They're older now.
All doing good.
Some of them are pros in different sports. And some of them are about to graduate high schools and go into college, signing on college programs and stuff. You know, so that's really cool. You know, but
it's a trip where those kids have come. Just even those kids that we have from just that picture.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, just that picture.
Just that picture alone. You got Martin Bankston's professional disc golfer.
Right.
He's about to travel worldwide. I'm actually sponsoring him to go to the biggest disc golf competition in all of the land.
Right.
Isaiah's right now, he's in high school playing baseball, still doing baseball. Loves it because of us. You know, like that's one thing that he always looks back on. Still loves fight sports. Every time I'm watching, he just came over to my house the other day. Uncle Arturo, I want to watch UFC. I want to watch the fights this weekend. Why does he love that? He loves it because that was what we did.
Right, yeah.
You know, and those are his memories. That's part of his past, and he knows that. So that runs deep in him. You know what I mean? All those kids. You know.
Yeah, you know, when I brought you in with the gyms with me back when we were playing softball, I had Jesse fighting, and you were with me a lot, you know, and I used to be like, hey, we're going to the gym, and I need you to spar Jesse today, you know, and you started sparring with Jesse, getting ready for his fights.
I'll tell you what, that was a different monster for me. Going from, you know, being an athlete who I was just taught to be a dog in everything I do, you know what I'm saying, and coming out of wrestling, having well into 300 matches under my belt, you know what I'm saying, maybe more. You know, that's just what probably is on record. You know, competing at that level, you know, at the level that I competed at was absolutely insane. But let me tell you something. Stepping into the ring with Jesse was a whole different game. That boy was talented in ways that most people couldn't understand. And that's why I tell people to this day, I'm like, yo, you look at Jesse and you see Jesse. I see a ninja. I see a samurai. I see a god of war. You don't see what I see. You know what I mean? You don't know what I know. Because I've been kicked to where my guts don't work right for 2 months because this motherfucker kicked me so damn hard, my guts blew out my back. You know what I'm saying?
No, for real.
Like, people don't know that. They don't understand that.
Yeah.
They don't, and that was, listen, that was that. That was when this kid was fucking 10, 12 years old.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Like, this kid, by the time they turned 16, I could only take so much from that kid. Right. So and like I said, during the time when he was a pup, you know, that became my nephew. Jesse became my nephew.
Right.
That's my boy. I love him.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I love him so much, you know. And one thing that I noticed as he grew is that the punches didn't always come in easier. And there were times where we got mad at each other.
Yeah.
And I could feel those times today. Sometimes today my bowel movement still ain't right because that boy kicked me so hard. Right. You know, I've eaten his feet, you know, his hands. That boy got some hands on him, you know. But those were all good times though. You know what I mean? There were a lot of times in my life where those your son's greatest memories in the rings were my defining moments in life. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people will never know that.
Right.
You know, we know that because you were there for them. You know,
right.
There were times where, you know, like when my old man passed away, or, you know, when certain things happened in my life, the only thing I had was stepping in the ring with Jesse and going and hanging out with you because I didn't know what to fall back on. Right. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go.
Right.
You know, and we don't talk to people. You know what I'm saying? Contrary to popular belief, you know, from the way we were raised, you don't go talk to psychologists. You don't go do things like that. You know, what do? go see your brothers, right? Go hang out with them and do the best you can.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, you know me, I was definitely a different monster in those days. You know what I mean? I'm cool, calm, and collective these days. You know what I'm saying? I might even let you talk about my mama these days. You know what I mean? And smile because I know what I am. You know what I mean? But back then, nah, man.
No,
the only person that I ever pulled a punch with was Chief, and that was a mistake. That was a mistake. You know what I mean? That kid was a different monster.
Well, you know the thing is that at that time when you were sparring with him, that's when he was at his top level and he was fighting for titles and championships. And I would bring people in to spar with him, but they wouldn't last around, or you know, it was just a lot for him, or some guys were just too aggressive on him, and I needed guys that would just work a certain style. And what was really cool was through the time you developed the style with Jesse and made it more of an art form style of fighting, and it really helped you. And you started really progressing also to where you were thinking about competing too. I
wanted to. You know, honestly, if I feel like to this day,
you're tripping.
I feel like if my body was ready for that life, if I didn't already spend a whole lifetime wrestling, and people don't know this, people don't go back to our softball days, people don't know that I tore my ACL, MCL, LCL, meniscus for you. They don't know that I broke ribs. They don't know I broke my nose. They don't know my back was fucked up. Yeah, well, for HDH, but they don't know that I played that.
We all heard ourselves.
I played with broken fingers, broken noses, broken ribs. How many times did I bust my knee up or something get messed up, right? While I was playing for you, and my body wanted that so bad. See, when I was younger, we didn't have that. We didn't have the opportunity. UFC wasn't a big thing. Right? Mixed martial arts wasn't a thing when we were kids. We didn't have that option. It was either you boxed or you wrestled, but you stood in one discipline. You know, don't get me wrong. There were times like my wrestling coach was a boxing coach, right? Doug, his name was Doug, not Barrett. Anyways, he was a police officer, and Officer Doug was a boxing coach, but he was a wrestling coach too. But he would teach us how to box. He would teach me how to box. He'd give me an hour after wrestling practice. You know what I mean? So I learned how to throw paws. You know what I'm saying? But not like where you got to study. Where like Chief, he grew up in Muay Thai, which in itself, Muay Thai is already a mixed martial arts because you're throwing hands. You're doing 8 limbs.
It's the
right?
art of 8 limbs.
It's 8 limbs. So with 8 limbs, knowing that it's 8 limbs, you know what I'm saying? Like the thought of throwing a knee in tandem with elbows and uppercuts and hooks and straights and feints and parries. That fascinated me to a level that I was like, I want to do this. My body unfortunately said, fuck you, you ain't gonna do this. You're too goddamn old. This is a young man's game. You know, not to say that it can't be done, but I don't think that at that time in my life that my will was matching where my body needed to be. You know what I'm saying? And it was unfortunate.
There's one time in the gym, in my other gym off of Western, where you were helping me coach with the kids, and you were one of my coaches over there. And you just got real addicted into this program with just addictions, because that's what we have for addictions, you know. And you ended up taking all your body fat off of you. And I remember one day you were laying down on the ground doing sit-ups, and you're like showing me this little piece you had left, and you were like, just get it. How many sit-ups were you doing a day over there? Remember, you were just laying down.
Hundreds, man, hundreds. Yeah, between that and planking and everything else we were doing.
You tripped out.
Yeah. I think by the time because that was right around the time, let's see,
like
we were off of Western. Yeah, we were off of Western, so I was just getting ready to leave for Telluride. And I was still kind of, I wouldn't say that I was having a drug phase, but I was having relapse still, you know, in my life, and that was fucking crazy. You know what I'm saying? So I was still relapsing and drinking, but like so far and few between, it was almost gone, you know. But at that time, I think I left for Telluride, leaving the gym at 142 pounds. And I was probably about 220, 225 a year and a half before. Before I started.
And you got like all the way down.
All the way down. And I felt, don't get me wrong, I felt nasty. Now, was I going to go in and compete with people who spent their whole lives doing? No, I spent my whole life doing that. I wrestled. I spent my whole life in the arena. But I had already spent a lifetime in that. So going from that to Muay Thai, because that's no joke. You know what I mean? People don't understand that. Muay Thai is a whole nother level. You know, and Chief only accentuated those levels. You know what I'm saying? Like, people don't understand, you know, Chief may not have gone off and been in the UFC, but I know that he could bang with those guys.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I was there for that. I got to be a part of a lot of that.
The thing with Jesse was in his young
career, he had some very unfortunate
he had a lot
things
of
that
fights.
happened.
He had a lot of fights that were, uncalled for. He was in a car accident.
Really
fell
killed
out
him,
of the
man.
ring one time, hit the back of his head in a fight. They had to take him into paramedics. He had some kid he fought that had loaded gloves.
I remember that fight. I was there for that fight.
Gave him messed up his brain. Yep. So he's been through a lot. This sport that we're in, you really have to watch what you're doing when you're in it. Meaning you have to watch everybody. I've learned a lot where you watch promoters, you watch trainers, you watch other fighters, you watch parents, you watch anybody that has contact with your fighters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because of the stuff that I've seen and stuff that we've been through, luckily, thank God, we're not that kind of gym. We train hard.
Yeah.
We bang, we get down, we teach these kids how to fight. But Jesse went through a lot, and he was robbed a lot of stuff. But the cool thing about him, if you see him today, he's a great kid.
It
doesn't even bother him.
No. Yeah, it's one of those. He's one of those kids who was good either way, whether he was competing or not competing. He knew what he was.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Living the life of a warrior. There is no other way. Like I said, I've been a dog my whole life. For the first time in my life, I'm at 40 years old, and I don't know what to do with myself. Yeah. Right? I'm 40, and I can't sit still, but I can't compete at the levels that I want to compete at. Right? And some people say, oh, you got to get stem cells. Oh, you got to do this. You got to do that. And you know what? Why can't I just relax for a little bit? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And enjoy my peace because my whole life I was trained like a warrior. Right? You start out from when I was wrestling. That started in kindergarten. And there are kids out there that start earlier than that, right? And so for me, my whole life was that. That's all I ever knew. And then I got to you and Jesse, right? But a whole lifetime all the way before that. At 16 years old, I had already had thousands of matches, right? Inside the wrestling room. Other people traveled all over the world to do that, right? And then get to you guys. And then you guys teach me how to throw hands, how to throw knees, how to throw feet, how to throw elbows, right? And that's crazy, right? That's crazy. That's crazy for me to learn all of those things, and I want to compete, right? And I've been a dog in all of those things, and I worked my ass off in all of those things. But then now I'm where I'm at, and my body is saying, hey, listen, either run or don't. But my knee wants to fall apart. My back fucking hurts. I can't even, I'm coaching baseball right now. And I can't even lift my arm to throw a ball anymore. Yeah. I played catch with you, maybe a month or two ago? We were playing catch outside your house. Yeah. We're playing catch. I said, I just want to play catch. Man, I got done it for 4 days. I couldn't pick up a goddamn spoon. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, it's just because I went hard.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We didn't know anything other than go 100%.
That's it.
And Chief and all these young fighters that you got, a lot of people don't understand. These kids, that's what they do. They give 100%. They give everything they have into it. And you can't allow outside entities to come in and affect those kids.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you have to watch them and they will hurt your kids. They'll put weights in their gloves so they can get a one up on your kid. You know what I'm saying? Right. They'll call the fight wrong because it's their kid, and even though it was a close fight and they know that this kid won, why are they gonna give it to this one? Because that's their home crowd. Right. Well, no, that's bullshit. Who won? You know what I'm saying? Right. These kids put their heart into it. Chief put his heart and soul into it, and I know because I took a lot of those punches from his soul. You know what I'm saying? And so, it's always easy to go back to that for me, knowing that, hey, listen, I may not have been the best fighter in the whole world, but be goddamned if I didn't fight ninjas.
Can I tell you something crazy, though?
You know what I mean?
Talking about all that, he graduated in 2013. So that's nuts. Is before 2013 you're talking about.
Yeah, all of it before he was even right. And I left in 2016.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I took off from here and left a Telluride for
we're talking
for
about
a while,
so this is a long time.
His childhood.
And talk about other stuff too. With how you've been too, you've been crazy and when you were younger and
oh man.
You went to gladiator school a couple of times and I've gotten you. When you got out, you hit me up, and I hooked you up. Hooked up with me. And what happened? Tell them, Will.
Well, when I was younger, man, to say the very least, I was a raging alcoholic. I was a drug addict. In a lot of people's stories, I was a monster. You know what I'm saying? In some people's stories, I was the nightmare. I was the guy who, oh yeah, Art's a piece of trash. He's a dirtbag, you know. But I was, and don't get me wrong, there are certain aspects of what I was that definitely was that. You know what I'm saying? Those times are still hard for me today. I still have to have reconciliation. I still have to reconcile with who I was and the things that I did and the ramifications of those things. You know what I'm saying? Right. And it's hard for me because, you know, I look back and sometimes I see the faces, the people that I did those things to when I was using drugs and I was drinking and I was out, you know, here and broke somebody's face or put somebody in the hospital. You know, how many times you get called, hey, Art got in a fight, he's in jail right now. Right. You know what I'm saying? Or, hey, Art did this, or hey, you know, Art's at the softball fields, he fought 6 dudes, like the fuck, you know what I'm saying? Like all those things happen. And you know, I was just caught up in drugs, I was caught up in alcoholism, and I couldn't get out. You know what I'm saying? And I tried. And so a lot of those people, they'll tell you, oh, he's a monster, he's a loser. Some of those people still don't want to talk to me today. Still don't want to see me today. But you know, I always had a good heart, man. Right. I gave it my best effort. You know what I mean? And if you were ever around me when I wasn't those things, and in between those gaps of where I was, you know, going hard and, you know, in and out of prison and in and out of county and in and out of those things, like, you would know that if I was on my last dollar and it meant you needed to eat or I needed to eat, you're going to eat first, or we're going to eat together. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, it was always one of those things where I was a monster in some people's and then I was an angel in other people's. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And it's hard to differentiate the two. There's such a fine line between, you know, the only difference between a good guy and a bad guy is one unsound decision. That's it. One bad decision. You know what I'm saying? That's the only difference between a good guy and a bad guy. Right. So what you deem, you know, a bad guy, there's such a minute line between a cop and a criminal. Right. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. And I was one of those where, you know, at one point in my life I was doing good, and at another point in my life I was doing bad. You know what I mean? And those could turn on a dime. That was the problem with me. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, somebody could call me up, oh, hey, somebody's with your little brother. It was game on, baby. Blood in, blood out, right? Like, hey, if you're my blood, I'm coming to get you. We're going to do this. Right. There was no hesitation. Right. There was no talk. That was over when you had the opportunity to talk before you struck my little brother, or before you hit Robert, or before you did something else, right? Like, those were opportunities. And you know, I ended up drinking a lot, doing drugs a lot, and that all led to me getting DUIs. You know, I had a long time ago when I was real young, I had a mix up where I was had a you know, theft of weapons and things that were happening in my life that had really messed me up. And they had you know, the problem with it was that I basically, what it came down to, I wasn't going to tell somebody, you know, and I ended up going to jail. Right. And you know, that it was hard because at that time I had just come back from the military, and you know, coming back to becoming home to being a criminal after serving your country was a really rough thing to do. You know what I'm saying? And that me up upstairs after already doing what I did. Right. You know, to come home to that, it really screwed me up and really messed me up. And then I was just kind of in and out of county, you know, and they put me on probation, you know, in this town. You know, much like a lot of small towns, I assume, it was tough for me to get out of those situations. It was you know, as situations manifested by myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. I don't ever look back on any one of those situations and ever say, oh, woe is me, or I feel bad for me, or the system isn't set up. The system's set up for me to fail. No, fuck that. I failed while I was in the system, and that was my fault. Right. You know what I'm saying? And I chose every path that I ever walked, and that's a fucking fact. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Yeah. And that being said, man, you know, I walked the path of being a good guy and being a gangster. And like I said, there's such a fine line between that. You know what I mean? I went and did, I ended up in 2009 when they had enough. Cottonwood had enough. They put me down for a DUI. I went and did 3 years flat. So from 2009 to 2012, February 28th of 2012, I was released from prison. Yeah. And, you know, it was a tough time, man. It was a bittersweet, you know, like going in, I realized how good of a man I was. And it was funny because when I went in, one of the things that stuck out to me the most is something that one of the OGs said. You know, he'd been down for 28 years, and he came to me and he grabbed me around my shoulder when I was getting ready to get out, and he said, you know, Art, he was like, I've known a lot of people over the course of my 28 years here in this correctional facility, and he's like, I've never known any like you. He was like, you don't belong here, son. He was like, you have a genuine good heart. He was like, these motherfuckers are losers. They're criminals. They're this, they're that. And he's like, not every one of them, but a lot of them. And he's like, and I fucking know them because I've been here for 28 years with these motherfuckers. You know what I mean? He's like, but let me tell you something. He's like, the people that you surrounded yourself with in life You're not even this. Don't come back here. You don't belong here. And you know what? That stuck out to me. That was one thing that this OG, who I knew what he was. Right. Dude was a killer. You know what I'm saying? He knows who he is, and dude was a straight up killer. You know, got a lot of death under his belt, but it takes one to know one, right? And so I'm sitting there talking to this man, and he was like, "I know what you are." It's like, but I also know who you are. You know, and he's like, "So go be that man. You have a genuine opportunity to go out there and do something good with your life instead of being in here." He's like, because you're gonna end up in here, and he's like, you're gonna end up in my position, 28, running things. It was like, you're not the person to sit back and do nothing.
Right.
He was like, so either do this or do this. He's like, but you don't need this. He's like, you got a good heart. We need people in here who are, you know, they're different. They're different kind of, and they're lost. He's like, you're far from that. You know, and I think hearing those things, even when I was getting ready to leave, I just remembered all the times that I had from my dad, from you, from Coach Woolcash, all the people that I had in my life that were solid. You know, I had 3 men that were probably the most solid men. You know, my brother Mark, 4 men that were probably the most solid men that I ever had in my life. My dad, my brother Mark Sanchez, Robert Gonzalez, and Tom Woolcash. And you guys were always the voice of reason when I was going to make an unsound decision. You were always the voice that said, nah, man, like, okay, like, look, it's okay to be rough because we're going to be faced with rough situations in this fucking life. And that's just the way it is.
Right.
That's never going to change.
Yep.
Right. We're going to face rough situations where it's, hey, if somebody comes up and says, hey, fuck you. No, hey, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to get to that level really quick as men. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But how we handle ourselves now, you know what I'm saying, versus how we handled ourselves when we were 16 and 20. Right. Two different men. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because I remember how you were quick to pop off too, but I was quick to say, hey, fuck you too. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't have time for that. You know, I ain't no punk. I mean, I ain't no bitch. You know what I mean? And I'm sorry for cursing so much. You know, whatever.
It's
I
all
mean,
good. We got to get it in.
But I mean, truth be told, you know what I'm saying? Like that's what it was. Right. You know what I mean?
I got you.
And now that I'm here today, you know, being the person that I am now, leaving all that behind, looking back on all of that, I don't regret a single bit of it. Because all of that built a lot of character that I have in my life today. And now I wouldn't trade any bit of that for the character and the man that I am today. Right. Man that I am today can't be who I am without all of the hardships that I went through, without all the heartbreak that I went through, the heartache that I went through. Yeah. You know, I mean, there's a whole nother probably do a whole nother episodes with how I acted when I lost girls too. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We know how that went. You know what I mean? And there's, you know, the heartache of the loss of our people, you know, friends, loved ones, you know, like you said, we don't really talk a lot about softball, but there's 13 years of solid, maybe 15 years of solid memories there.
It just got ugly.
No, it did. In the end. Yeah. But you know what though? We were just like everybody else. Yeah. Hey, let's crack a 30 rack. We got the boys, bring the kids out, bring the wives out.
Fun, man.
We're gonna have fun. We're gonna play our music.
We're doing like 350 games a year.
Yeah, and people forget. People forget that even though sometimes you finished in the dark, there was a lot of brightness in there. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of our memories, a lot of our good times, bad times, and a lot of who we are today from those times.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it trips me out, you know, to think of how far I've come. And you know how long I've had you know, you in my life. And like I said, you know, my father passed away. I've got you in my life. You know, you're pretty much an everydayer. I could call you anytime, you know, any time of the night, and you'll answer the phone. Yeah. My brother Mark, you know, and Coach Woolcash, you know, he's out there, but I you know, I don't really get to talk to him like that anymore. So I got two people left in my life who I rely on. You know what I mean? To you know, to get me through those rough times. Or you know, sometimes I don't even call you. Sometimes I just think like I'm sitting there just chilling, and I'm like, Robert just be like, don't do that, dumbass. Don't fucking do that. You know what I'm saying? Just like you say, don't fucking do that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, man, I think about those things, and I think about, you know, the disappointment and the things that I've done. And I just make sound decisions, bro. I make better decisions. You know what I mean? I graduated the School of Hard Knocks. You know what I mean?
Right.
I went to Gladiator School. I did my time. I did it with my, you know, with my chin up. You know what I'm saying? And served overseas. Did that with my chin up, you know? Been in and out of your gym for how many years? Did that with my head up, bro. You know what I mean? Yeah. And a lot of people are like, oh, Art's soft now. He lets people talk to me. Nah, bro. Listen, fucking monster. But I'm nice these days.
Learn martial arts.
Yeah, it's okay. You know, you can be. We cool.
That's
cool.
how I am. You know, the thing about martial arts is, I talk about it a lot, I would say, but it's the confidence that martial arts gives you. It's not that to hurt people, because it's not worth it anymore. And I've learned one thing too about I've talked about a lot, especially with you too. You're one of them. I work with a lot of people that have been in prison. Mm. Lots of people have been in prison and are in prison today, but still lots of them have been in prison. And what I've learned is that once they learn to fight fights that aren't their fights no more, their lives change.
Yep.
And then they go conquer way more than they've ever even thought of.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
Businesses and relationships and just everything else. Once they realize I'm fighting a fight that ain't even mine.
Yeah.
What is wrong with me?
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna win.
Yeah.
I said it before. I'm gonna win. I'm a winner. I'm not a loser.
Yeah.
So nothing's gonna beat me. So that being said, those consequences that are coming with that are gonna be hell for you.
Yeah.
But once you learn that I'm not fighting your fight, bro.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm gonna buy you some food. I'm gonna buy you a beer.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's different.
In fact, I'm gonna get to know you now, and you're gonna be my friend because there's something wrong with you, and I used to be like you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But years ago, you would have took that aggression, bro, and been like, "What's wrong with you, man?"
Yeah.
So that's where you're at today, I would say, with, you know, you're soft and all that. You don't have nothing to prove. You never even had nothing to prove in the first time. But now with the confidence level and being around the martial arts and seeing all this and seeing how my son's calm and seeing how the guys are, it just you just grow.
Yeah, you think that we're, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's funny because, you know, people are like, man, you're so nice, you're so this and that, and I'm like, it feels good to hear those things, right? It's always nice to hear those things because I was always that nice boy, that nice sweet boy, you know, fucking born and raised in church, you know, did the right things, you know, was holy roly and Bible thumping, you know, believed in God, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Ghost, and did all those things, man. And I'll tell you what, dude, I still am that person. You know what I'm saying? That person never left me.
Right.
You know, it's just I was like you said, like you get trained to be a warrior, and after a while, you know, that warrior sets in, and sometimes that mindset, you're fighting other people's fights because they triggered you, or they, you know, said something that's like, oh, mess you up. Like, what is wrong with you talking to me like that? You know who you're talking to, and you don't say that to them, but you know it in the back of your mind that's playing like, you have no idea who you're talking to, like, you know. And now that mindset doesn't kick in like that. Right. It's just exactly like you said. Like, people talk to me a certain way, you know. As a matter of fact, you wouldn't believe this. I'm not even lying to you. You can go out there and grab him in the bar. A buddy of mine, Joey, who is sitting in the bar right now, was at the disc golf course the other day, and he said something, and he was like, "Hey," and he doesn't know. You know what I'm saying? Like to me, if you ever want to talk about a trigger word here in Arizona, those are words where we don't talk about it anymore. We're done talking. You know what I'm saying? Right. And I just kept walking, smiled on, like, that's not my fight anymore, right? And so today he sees me right before I'm getting ready to walk into this podcast, sees me, and he's like, "Hey," and I'm like, "Nah, bro, it's all good." I'm like, "Come here, bro, embrace me as my brother. We're good. You know what time it is." All right. And that's a different man. You would have caught me 10 years ago, 12 years ago. Yeah. No, that was a different story. Yeah, it was on site. Yeah, there was no nothing. My friend would have been pummeled. Right. We probably weren't going to be friends anymore. Right. It was going to be all bad. Yeah. I was going to be back in jail and losing everything that I ever had.
Because if you didn't do that, what would happen?
If I what?
If you didn't defend yourself being called that.
Oh, then I was a punk. If I didn't defend myself being called it, then I was a punk, and I lost respect in the streets. I lost respect from the homies, of, you know, family. Why you let them talk to you like that? Right. And then everybody thinks that they can get over it. It's like you're the king of the jungle, right? Yeah. And in that jungle, it's like if one hyena comes up and bites a little nibble off your ass, you know, and you let him get away with it, that's okay. That's okay, right? One's no big deal. But what if the whole pack is around and saw that? Yeah. Then what do they think they could do?
But isn't it cool today that you could do something different now?
Now I know. No, listen. Now I know. Hey, listen. You don't always have to be
in front of the whole pack.
You don't always have to. You don't always have to roar. You don't always have to. Yeah, you don't always have to let them know. Yeah, right. Yeah, you don't always have to let them know. Sometimes you can just be a sleeper, right. and let them think that you're a laying giant, a resting giant. That's okay. Yeah, that's okay. If you need to wake the giant, you know who you are inside. Yeah. When that time comes, it would come swift and fast. And most of the time, you probably wouldn't talk about it on podcast anyway. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, you know, because the shovel's going to be out back. You know, it's different now. It's different. It's back then. It was pow, 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 right then and there. Right. Now it's more, hey, bro, listen, I'm gonna hug you because you don't want to get swiped. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't need that. And you're like, come here, let me give you a hug. You know, like it's all good, you know. And I experienced that just right before I came in here, and I, you know, give the man a hug, and I could see his emotions go to, cool, that's off of his shoulders, because that was his fight, right? That was something that I watched his emotions. I watched his emotions fall and come apart and say, like he was relaxed about it. To me, I haven't even thought about it since it happened.
Right.
That's the difference. That's the kind of person that I am now, right? That's the change. Is that back then it would have dwelled on me inside of my brain until I fucking found him and fucked him up. Until I got to that point to where I was with him and it was like, no, now I'm gonna tear him to pieces. He don't know. And I'm gonna be like, yo, what's up? Boom, 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 boom. We're throwing hands, right? I mean, that's what it is now. Now it's, hey, come here, let me get a hug. Let me buy you a drink.
No, it's dope.
Hey, are you ready to barbecue? Because I want you to come over next Saturday. We're gonna chill, hang out. You know what I mean? Barbecue. You know what I mean? In the backyard, like it's different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I remember when you first got out of prison one time, and I was a truck driver, and I was going to work, and it was like
4 o'clock in the morning. I was right there by the Safeway, right down the street.
And all of a sudden, I see you just running down the street, bro.
Yeah.
Fresh out.
Yeah.
Just running.
Yeah, that was the life.
Huh?
That was the life.
How was it at that time of your life when you were running?
Man, bro.
All over Conwood in the morning.
You know, I've spent most of my life doing that. That's the thing. You know, being an athlete, it was wake up at the break of dawn, run. That's why I fluctuated a lot from being a big guy to a little guy whenever I wanted, because all I had to do is start running. And I'll just shed the pounds, you know what I mean? But during that time, you know, running was my salvation. Nobody likes running. Nobody loves to run. Nobody. Like it's just but it's discipline, man. You know what I'm saying? Like running creates a discipline inside of you, like nothing else. I rose with the sun and went down with the sun, so I was running through both of them. You know what I'm saying? And in prison, that was all we had. I had nothing. So to keep me away from the mindsets of others who are death, destruction, and wildness, and they want to stab you, they want to do all these crazy things, I got up as soon as they opened the doors, straight to the track. I'm running, right? I'll run until I fall asleep. So that way there can't even be no confrontations until I go to breakfast now. So now I got 3 hours apiece because I went and ran it all off. You know what I'm saying? And then coming out here doing that, I remember that time was pretty crazy for me because I came home to nothing. I had nothing. Literally nothing in my life. I didn't even have fucking clothes, man. You bought me clothes. You bought me sweaters. You hooked me up, took me to the mall. You swagged me out. I think my brother Manuel bought me a pair of shoes. I had some Nike Air Maxes, and I looked at those things, and I've been wearing those cheap shoes from in prison, and I was like,
I took you straight to
I was like, I'm a jam in these things, you know.
I took you straight to Prescott. Yep, said, buy whatever you want.
Anything. Yep. You guys let me.
Let's go.
You and Mom let me get whatever I wanted, man. And
underwear, socks, get it all.
It was a huge blessing in my life because I came home at that time and I didn't have anything in my life. You know what I mean? And it was like everything that I did have, which wasn't much, was clothes, some watches, some shades. They were all gone.
Yeah.
You know, my mom, I had your sister needs to live here with your brother-in-law, and now they got Isaiah, and so we just had to get rid of all that stuff. And I'm like, everything I had, I'm like, Mom, I have nothing. You know what I mean? And it's like, hey, listen, you sold yourself out. I sold myself out, right? You know what I'm saying? I lost my turn. Yeah, I lost my turn. Why did I? Yeah, I lost my turn because I made those decisions that led me to that area. And when I went to that, when I went to that life, it was tough. You know what I mean? You learned a lot of hard, valuable lessons in it, and it sucks.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But coming out was when I felt like, for the first time, my older brother was helping me. You were helping me. People wanted to genuinely see me do good. And after all these years, I finally feel like I'm finally doing good. You know what I'm saying? I'm finally doing the right things in my life and making the right decisions in my life, and that's manifested now. Now those things they become great. I went from, I bartended for a long time. You've known that. I've been bartending, serving, worked a lot of different jobs, a lot of crazy things over all the years. But bartending and serving was something that I always did. So I finally stepped away from that and opened up my own business. Yeah. And it was pretty crazy, man. To think of who I was back then to where I'm at now, and I still feel like now I'm just a pup. I feel like now I'm doing what I should have did in my 20s when I was trying to be responsible. And now I'm 40 years old, and it's like I'm taking baby steps here, opening up a business. But now I feel like I'm doing a lot better now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I've graduated to a stage of my life where, those things that mattered so much to me, like beating Dave DeWitt's team in softball, and trying to get one good punch in on Chief, and all these different things, whatever it was in my life that I felt like was so important to me. Now all I see is, man, I want to have kids. man, I wanna buy a house. I want to make the right decisions. You know, I want to do what you did for me for somebody else's life. You know what I mean? My girlfriend, she came home just the other day, and she's like, "Where are you going?" "Oh, I'm coaching baseball this year." So what? You're not good. You're just coaching. You're just coaching baseball. And I was like, yeah, I feel like it's something I got to do in my life. And she's like, oh, okay. And she comes home, you know, yesterday, and I was like, hey, babe, you know, I got to make sure I got to have the truck for this time of night tomorrow. Blah blah blah. And she's, wow, what's going on? She's doing a podcast, and she's one of those people. She loves podcasts. And she's like, who the fuck are you? You know what I'm
What's
saying?
going
Like,
on here?
yeah, she's like, you know, and she doesn't understand that like we get to a point in our lives, I guess, where we grow. You know what I'm saying? And when that growth happens, man, you know, it's beautiful to see. You know, I mean, I know that it's beautiful to see, and I hope that doesn't sound I hope that doesn't sound like I'm trying to be high minded or nothing, or like I'm trying to, you know, talk myself up, because I know where I came from, man, and
Right.
and I know what
man,
I've been through.
Yeah, bro.
But it is
Talk, homie.
but it
Let
is
them hate.
yeah, it does feel good to be it does feel good to be in a situation finally in my life where, you know, I could be like, hey, Robert, let me take you to breakfast, because you and mom always took care of me.
And you taking me breakfast.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, bro, I know.
And that to me, you know, to some people they're like, oh, who fucking cares? But to me, for a man who's done that to me a lot, you know, my brother Mark too, same thing, dudes. You guys put food on my plate when a lot of times I didn't have $1 in my wallet. And not only would you do that, you guys would take me to breakfast, and then here's money. Put money in your wallet. Here, what do you need? What do you need? What do you have that you don't need? And, oh, I need this. Okay, Robert goes to his garage and gets that and gives me that. My brother Mark, same thing. Grace, you know, Grace and my mom, they've always been there for me. You know what I mean? Yeah. Those are the people who I feel like now in my life, I owe it to them to do good. Fuck me. Listen, I already know what I did. I already know what I did for me. Hear you. I know what I did for me. Fuck me. It's for them. Right. I want to do something because I want to be that potential, that special that they always believed in, that you guys always believed in. Yeah. And now that I know that you guys always believed in me, you know what I'm saying? I love you, know what I'm saying? I know that you guys always believed in me, and now to see me doing that way, that makes me feel good that you're seeing me do that. Yeah, no, I'm happy for you, bro. You know? Like, hey, I talk with mom a lot about, you know, you're working, you got your business, you know, you got a nice truck, you've been in a relationship for a long time, you know, you're happy there, and you've been in your home for a long time where you're at, you know, you're not moving around from place to place, you know, you found a very nice house. And so, no, I'm really proud of where you've come from and how far you've gone, because if anybody could have given up and had a reason to give up, bro, it's you. Yeah. You know, I remember the days, bro, when I used to take you to my homies' houses, and I would go to places and I would take you with me just because you were with me, and everywhere I went, and I would go to parties, and we would have to stop and get a bottle of Tuaca or something, and we'd show up to the party, and I think that you were gonna drink with everybody, yeah, and you would drink the whole bottle, no, Southern Comfort or whatever, Tuaca or whatever. I'm just saying, but I would think you were gonna, you know, drink it with my homies and shit, and you would just drink the whole bottle by yourself, bro. Yeah, it's crazy. You know, I think back to all those days, and I'm like, man, I'd love to find the end of the bottle. You know, there were times where, you know, me and you, we found the end of a lot of bottles. Yeah. You know, we did a lot of that. And, you know, that goes back to just that, like I said, you know, about being just a dog in the fight. You know what I'm saying? Crazy. We were addicted to everything we did. Yeah, we had a lot of fun. Everything we did it 100%. Right. So to me, it was like, oh, we're drinking? This is what we're doing today? Yeah. Robert, hey, try this new beer. I'm like, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. Oh, okay, this is what we're doing. You know what I mean? It was crazy. And by the end of the night, you know, we killed a 30 rack, a couple of bottles, and people are like, everybody says that. No, we really did that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, the young days, we really did that. Those were our days. That was what we actually did, you know? And it's crazy to, you know, it's crazy to think that, you know, my life went from that to, you know, to where I'm at now. I'm sitting in a bar and don't have a drink in my hand right now, you know? And to me, it's like as if it was never a thing. Right. You know what I'm saying? Now I've been clean and sober for 8 years now. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy, yeah. That's a long time. Yeah, I remember at the very end. And coming from that to where, you know, these guys wouldn't have been able to keep up with me back in the day. Right. You know, a lot of these guys, you know, they hang out, they drink this. Oh, yeah, sure, you're just an old man telling old wives' tales. Nah, man, that's not even it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I banged with the best of them. We were world renowned as drinkers. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We went everywhere and drank everybody into the table. We prided ourselves like those idiots who did that. Right. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm at this point in my life where it's like, I can't remember drinking like that anymore. Right. Now I'm at the stage where I'm like, you know, even just being around it, it doesn't bother me anymore. It's as if it doesn't exist in my life anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of a trip. You know what I'm saying? Going from that and the drugs, you know, it's funny because I see a lot of drug addicts, you know, sometimes old friends, sometimes people who have you know, they didn't make it out. I was in the same situation as these people and they didn't make it out. You know what I'm saying? And I still see them. And they come up to me and it's hard because I believe, I'm one of those people, I believe in transference. So like, you know, not that I don't want to give you a hug, but hey, whoa. Hang on, slow up right there. Like, because I can see my demons in those people. I see what I once was in all those people. You know, so when I see somebody who comes in and they're drunk off their ass, I know what they are. I know that's my demons trying to come in slow. You know what I'm saying? And I see those things and it's a trip. You know, now I don't ever look down on anybody who's doing those things because that doesn't bother me. You know what I'm saying? That's not my place. It's not my place to be that. Right. It's not my place to judge anybody who's doing whatever else.
Just pull you back. It
just yeah. And for me, it's only I just can't see it anymore.
And you got to know too that our weaknesses are still weak.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Know that.
Yeah. I can. Yeah. For me, I understand. I have no disillusions to the fact that if I go out and start drinking again, fucking life is over. Right? It's game over. There's not going to be any more. There's no more. Oh, you're going to get a second chance. No, I had all the second chances when I was a young man. You know what I'm saying? Right. I had all those second chances.
And your body can't take it either inside.
That's it. Right? So like, how long can you go where your kidneys and your livers and everything else is gonna be okay? Yeah. And you do these things while you're young, right? Yeah. You do these things. That's what they say, right? Wasted youth, right? We waste our youth. Well, I felt like I was really good at that, and I did that to 100%. No.
You know, what was your age when you went into the kidney failure and stuff like that?
I was, let's see, I had acute renal kidney failure and rhabdomyolysis at the age of.
You were young.
I want to say that happened when I was
early 30s.
30, like 31, 32, somewhere around 31 or 32 years old. And you know, my body had given out, and it was funny because
partying and
drinking, all that, drugs, everything else. You know, we were doing everything. You know what I'm saying? We couldn't even tell anymore what we were doing. You know, if you were sniffing something off of the table, you didn't know what that was cut with. No, but you didn't even care anymore. It didn't even matter. You know what I'm saying? Those things didn't matter anymore. The only thing that mattered was getting high, getting drunk, doing what we did. You know what I'm saying? And I remember, you know, one of the defining moments, one of the things that turned me from that was definitely, I was in the hospital, man. You actually came in. You came in when I was down. You came in to see me. You're actually pulling my catheter. I'll never forget that.
I was like, let's go.
He's pulling my catheter as I'm trying to recuperate. I'm like, bro, let's stop. I'm hurting, dying in the hospital, and this guy's messing with me. You know, but I remember, you know, while I was facing my demons even at that moment, and I was going through the things that I was going through, you know, I had so many different trials and tribulations going on in my life during that moment. But one of the things that pulled me out of that was one of the doctors. I'll never forget him. This young Indian man came up to me and said, "Hey, man," he was like, "I've seen you come into this hospital 3 times in the last month now. I'm not going to save you again." He was like, "Dude, you got family out here. You've got people out here that actually love you. Every drug addict and every alcoholic that I get that comes in here, they don't have nobody. You have somebody. You have people. You have people that care about you. They fucking care about you. They care about everything that you do. And this is what you're doing? You're pissing your life away for this? This is what you're doing?" And he was like, "Don't come back. I'm not going to save you." And bro, it hit me. It was like a left hook. And I remember at that time, you and I were actually having a tough time because I was kind of still fucking up, but trying to get clean and sober. And like, I was at the edge. I was at the cusp of just completely going straight on the straight and narrow. And you were transitioning to the gym. Your business had just started. All those things were happening. And, you know, maybe I still owe you an apology to this day. You know what I'm saying? I remember that. I remember that. I'll never forget the day on my steps when I was living at the mayor's mansion across the street from the hospital when we got to that argument. And I was like, damn, that was my friendship out the door. And that was my thought. My thought was, that's my friendship. I just lost my brother. You know, that was all that went through my heart because of every, you know, we exchanged some words and it was over the stupidest things, right? But I remember that doctor said that. And I want you to know even today, man, that you know, that moment happened because I could only see one thing, Robert. I could only see sobriety. That was my only choice. I was going to die in Cottonwood or leave ugly. So I chose to leave ugly, bro. I left you ugly on the doorstep, on my doorstep. I left everything behind. You know what I'm saying? I left you hard, bro. And that hurt me. That hurt me for a lot of years. I had to come to terms with that on my own without even telling you that. You know what I'm saying? But I had to leave my mom ugly. You know, my mom was like, Mijo, where are you going? I was like, I'm leaving now. Now. I was like, this is 3 days after our argument. I told my mom, I said, I'm leaving. If I don't leave, I'm gonna die here. You're gonna bury your son. I came right into this bar with my mom. We were talking, and she's like, "What are you gonna do?" And I was like, "I don't know. I'm gonna go to Colorado. If I don't leave, I'm gonna die." And so all I saw was my sobriety. And so I was like, if I don't do this now, nothing's ever gonna change. And that was that defining moment. You know what I mean? That was that moment where it was like, I'm gonna have to. And it hurts, to leave. Still thinking about it this way. Hindsight's always 2020, right? You always see things better, after it's already, over and done with. You know what I'm saying? And so, that being said, I felt like that was a tough time for us. You know what I'm saying? For as long as we had been brothers, and that hurt me, to leave that way. But now knowing what I know, I forgave myself because I was like, no, you had to do that. Whether it was good or bad, it had to be done.
Right.
The what happened doesn't matter anymore.
Right.
The only thing that matters is that you got sober, because he wasn't going to have you. You weren't going to have me if I was dead. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Whether that be good or bad, how I left.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I want to be realistic about something with HGH that I've known for. There's a trending theme. You either leave good or you leave bad, but you never really leave, right? Because even when you leave bad, what do you always do? Come back and knock on the brother's doorstep. When have you ever turned anybody away? No. Anybody. Ever. No matter what we've done in your organization, when have you ever, no matter how many times I fucked up, how many times you'd be like, nah, you're not welcome here? Never.
Never.
Now, all you got to do, knock on the door and say, I want forgiveness, right? And then it's game over. It's a reset, right? And that's why I was just like, when I actually got home and got back here, and saw you for the first time, it was heartbreaking to me realizing that we didn't have all of our brothers with us. When I left, everything was still together. I thought I was the one. I thought I was the one who broke up that portion, right? Like, it was just me. And so when I left, we had the whole crew. Everybody was still there. And there's no need for us to get into what we already know. Yeah. So that's a topic for a whole nother conversation. You know what I'm saying? But truth be told, we lost family in that one. To this day, they're still gone. You know what I mean? Mm. And I love everybody all the same. No, absolutely. I know there's no love lost. I know what it is. But sometimes you got to cut a man loose, right? You know what I mean? But cutting them loose and not loving them, that's two different things. You know what I'm saying? You love everybody that's ever come around you. You love everybody and all you've ever wanted was the best for people. And that's what I've known about the HDH organization, is that it's always been one of those things. You know what I mean? People always ask me, why you run with Robert? Why don't you? You know what I'm saying? They're like, what? And I'm like, well, you got a lot going on in your life, right? I'm not saying this man's going to fix that, because he ain't no holier than thou motherfucker, because that ain't how he rolls. But he could sure as hell help you out. He'll show you a better path. You need work, he'll find you work. He knows a guy. You know what I'm saying? Robert's always, how many times I come to you, bro, I need work, something. There's this person, go work for him. Don't fuck it up, though. You know what I'm saying? That was always your words to me. Right. Don't fuck it up. You know what I mean? That's my friend. And then you lose a friend because I fucked it up.
Right.
And you get mad at me for a week, but then it's like me will come over, drink some beers. You know what I'm saying? And looking back at all those times now, I realized that friendship, brotherhood, blood, all that stuff, man, when push comes to shove, at the end of the day, all we have are the ones that we surround ourselves by. You know what I'm saying? And I choose to be where I'm at with you and HDH and everybody else because, man, don't get me wrong, there's a whole new regime of people that you have in that I don't really know. You know what I'm saying? But that don't matter. They don't know who I am. You know what I mean? And that's okay with me too. Why? Because, I was there when you laid the foundation for the steps that they're stepping on today.
Yeah.
And I remember those hard times, every single one of them.
Yeah.
And they'll never know those times. And you know what? That's okay. Because at some point, that's what growth is, right? Like you forget it. It's not that you forget the stepping stones, because they're always going to be there. You don't forget the foundation, because it always needs to be restructured. It always needs to be stronger. It always needs to be done better, and a couple of fix the cracks. You know what I'm saying?
Right. You
fill those gaps with who? With the new people.
Right.
Because they're not the same. And then you find a higher caliber of people.
Yeah.
You step into the higher caliber, and not that they're better than anybody, but they've raised themselves up differently than, say, somebody like a drug addict or an alcoholic or somebody else,
Yeah.
And now I look at It's funny because the last time I stepped in your gym, nobody even knew who I was. Nobody. They saw me wrestling around with Loki on the ground. They're like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" Like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Or they see me in there doing whatever I want, and they're like, "Nobody gets to do whatever the fuck they want."
Right.
Who the fuck gets to do whatever they want in Robert's gym?
Right.
But I got that G pass, right? Like,
right.
I helped lay the foundation for what they don't know.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? With my brother, right? I was with you from, and it was like my niece hit me up the other day. I just want to kickbox so bad in my life. I'm like, let's go talk to Robert. And she's like, well, I don't know if I'm going to have, this and that. And I was like, Robert don't care about none of that. He cares about one thing: show up. If you're a kid and you want to do something in his organization, show up.
Right.
Show up. This guy could change your life. He could do things for you. He'll make things happen. If you don't have money, hey, look, man, this runs off of money, but is he going to get you in there? Yeah, he's going to get you in there.
Right.
He's going to make whatever he can happen for you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We're going to do everything. We'll get you sponsors. We'll get you whatever you need.
Yeah, we did a lot of that stuff, there for a while, you were helping me out too with some kids and stuff like that, and you brought all your gear in to help out and let us use your gear and had a lot of fun. So, definitely I thank you for everything, brother, and all the stuff that you've done to help me in beliefs and, allowing me to be a mentor in your life, because that's what it is that you've allowed me to be one.
Bro.
It wasn't just me, it's just that you've also allowed that too. So I appreciate that, trusting in me and trusting in my beliefs of what I believe in, and I mean,
if you didn't, honestly, man, if you didn't believe in me, I don't know who was going to. You know what I'm saying? A lot of I'd have to say a lot of me moving my feet forward, and a lot of me, being the foundations that I have even in my business and my life that I have now, even though my life is quiet and you maybe don't see me as much as you used to, and I'm not riding shotgun in your truck every single day. You know what I'm saying? I'm always riding shotgun in your truck every single day. You know what I'm saying? Because every time I do something, every time I make a move, it's always like, oh, well, I had Robert, and Robert showed me what to do. Get a truck, get a business, do this, do that, do the right things. You know what I mean? Make the right decisions. And all those things that we went through, and all those things that you mentored me in, and all those tough situations. If you didn't believe in me in those situations, I didn't have nobody else. Now, don't get me wrong. I had my mom, I had my brother, I had my sister. They always believed in me, right? But like, you have to have outside sources from your from your direct family of people that believe in you. I didn't have many. You couldn't even count them on one fucking hand. That's how much of a crazy motherfucker I was. I was that kind of a person.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That like, not everybody was gonna trust me. They would only trust me so far. Where you just leave me in the garage with your guns, your motorcycles, anything else. Why? Because you knew I was never gonna bite off the hand that fed me. You know what I'm saying? And to me, that was loyalty that knew no bounds. You know what I mean? So to me, it was like, I'm always gonna be that. I'm always gonna be there for you till the very end. You know what I'm saying? All the way till the very end. I don't care what decisions you make. I don't care how many different gyms you open up. I don't care what's gone on. Hey, bro, when you need me, I'm right here. It's not even a question. Hey, bro, put me back in the shotgun seat and we'll roll, bro, till the wheels fall off. You know what I'm saying? Like, till the wheels fall off, bro. It's never gonna change, man. Yeah. Never gonna change.
I appreciate that.
It's crazy, bro. Like, I look at all of this, man, as just a preamble. Everything we did led us to where we're going now. You know what I'm saying? And like,
sitting here doing a podcast.
Yeah. If you would have said this to me 10 years ago, I'd been like, yeah, Robert's gonna be drunk with me tomorrow. Shut the hell up. Like, you know what I mean? And chilling, talking about, old times. I mean, that sounds like something old timers do.
Right.
But I guess that's where we're at in life.
Yeah.
It don't mean we're old. It's just doing. You know what I'm saying?
I'm still young, man.
Yeah, you're still young.
I'm still young.
Yeah, you're still young.
I'm getting younger. Everybody else is getting older. Yep. I'm getting younger.
Yeah.
But anyway, man, thanks, brother. Thank you for being here.
I love you, man. I love you, man. You know what time
brother.
it is, bro.
I'll get you on the next one.